Hey guys, just got done watching See No Evil 2 from 2014, starring Glenn Jacobs again as Jacob Goodnight. This is the sequel to the 2006 movie See No Evil. It says starring Kane, but his real name is Glenn Jacobs, which is kind of funny because his name in it is Jacob Goodnight. Basically, what happens in the movies, basically this movie was in 2006. So this is like an 8 year later sequel, but it's set on the same night. But before I get into that, I'll talk about the cast. So first of all, you've got Danielle Harris, who's well known for Halloween 4 and 5, as well as that terrible movie that came out this year, Hallows Eve. I think just came out on Blu-ray yesterday, as well as other things she's been in. Catherine Isabel Kaj-Erik Erickson, Sheila Simmons, Greystone Holt, Lee Majubtup, Michael Eklund, and Reese Alexander as the EMT1. So anyway, like I said before, this is the sequel to 2006 horror movie, but basically this is like a sequel 8 years, made 8 years later in our time, but in movie time it's the same night, which is a bit weird, but weirder things have happened. So basically, it starts out the EMT's taking Jacob Goodnight's dead body in to Amy and Seth. Seth has a big thing for Amy, but he can't ask her out because he's too nervous. His fellow colleague basically makes fun of him about it, and he basically is quite angry about because he's like, oh, I just want to ask her out, but I can't. I haven't got the gonads for it. You know, the usual thing, like all guys go through when they like someone. Most of the time, they get concerned that, you know, they'll get rejected. So basically, Amy calls, and Danielle Harris, Amy, calls up her friends and says, look, I can't go out because I've got to do this. And in reality, I think she just wanted to spend the time with Seth as well. But then all of a sudden, they walk into a room and all her friends get up and they've done a surprise party at the mall, the county mall. So they're all like, woohoo, yes, party, uh-huh. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's start the music and dance, yeah. So basically, get about 20 minutes of that. And then her friend Tamara and her boyfriend Carter decide they want to go downstairs because Tamara wants to see Jacob. She wants to see his dead body, and she wants to, I guess, I don't know. She didn't, you know, well, I do know because I watched the movie, but I don't want to say it right now until I get to that point. So he goes, okay, so they go down there, and she sees him, and she's got like this top on, this short skirt, and she tells her boyfriend, I'll reward you for me being in here. Oh, yeah. So you're like, okay. So she gets on top of Jacob in like the mount position, leans down, and she wiggles her bum and all this, and she gives him a kiss on her lips like this. Her boyfriend goes, what the hell, Tamara? She goes, what, you're jealous? And then she gets off and goes on about how Jacob's cold and he's hot. And basically she puts her leg over his shoulder and he starts going while she's looking. So later on you see them having sex on the, you know, on the slab next to him, basically. Yeah, let's do it, yeah, you know. And then you meet Amy's brother, Will, who basically doesn't like Seth and thinks that she deserves better because she dropped out and became, you know, worked in the mortuary. Well, you know what? All I cared for him was, Will, you're a good looking man. Get out your sister's business and move on with your life. So basically, there's a point where he's kind of like outside the room, and Kayla touches his hand. He pulls away, and he goes, I think I'm gonna go. And she goes, why don't you like me? And he goes, because you're like a sister to me. And then she kisses him. He starts grabbing her and feeling her up, and you're like, ooh. So if I tell a woman she's like a sister to me, I can then feel her up and snog her. I'm like, ah, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, twisted. Well, she's one of the best friends of Amy, so I guess they kind of grew up, you know, together. So they're kissing. Amy catches them. She has a laugh with Caleb about it, and basically Carter and Tamara are still getting it on. She turns round while she's riding him, and Jacob's gone. He's gone. Carter believes it's their friends making a prank, so she gets off him. The lights go out. She lights up a match. Nothing, just pitch black. And he's going, it's probably a joke. She goes, why are you whispering, Carter? Does it again. Guess what? He's behind them. Grabs hold of him, smashes him up against the door. She runs away. Tamara runs up the hallway like, ah! Nobody hears her, and then somebody eventually hears her, and they go, oh, she's probably just messing about. So then, yeah, that's right. Then, basically, you see Jacob pull out a slab, and it's his mum. And he goes, and you get flashbacks to him as a kid, where they're going, you're gonna get rid of sin, and you're gonna do God's work, removing people's eyes. Now, that's another problem with this movie. In the first one, he was removing everybody's eyes. In this one, no. Should have put them on jars and had a creepy bit at the end. But anyway. So, Carter tries to get out and he basically hits him back. And then basically they eventually find out that stuff's going down, basically. So they're all running around. And to me, the mortuary reminded me of Halloween 2. Not the remake, the original one with Jamie Lee Curtis in. The remake. Not the remake, the second sequel to the Halloween franchise. And it reminded me of that, to be honest, a bit. You know, with the dark corridors. Well, I said, why didn't anybody get a phone? Out of all these people, none of them had mobile phones. And everybody's got a mobile phone now, so what the hell? Anyway. So basically, they're running around. And there's a scene with Holden, who's in a wheelchair. And Jacob throws his thing, catches him. He's crawling on the floor. Like, no. And all of a sudden he goes, why am I moving? Because obviously because he's paralysed in his legs, the spike thing's in his leg. So he's trying to hold on the rail. Jacob's pulling him. It's like 3 minutes of him pulling him. And you're like, why didn't he just walk up to him and just go? I'll tell you why, because he's sadistic. So unlike in the first movie where he walked around in like the raggy clothes, in this, he puts on a black apron and a clear mask. Puts it on, makes him look a little bit more creepy, but at the same time takes away because you can't really see his face that much. And look at that face. That face is a bit, ooh, like, So that was a little bit of a letdown, but I still liked it. Still liked the look. It just kind of went into a kind of usual, it's a slasher movie, let's put on a mask. He was better the way he was before, but you know, it didn't change the movie up that much. So basically, Holden ends up dead. They're all running and they get separated, and Kayla ends up getting killed, and basically Tamara and Seth and Amy and Will, they're hiding in these 2 rooms. Jacob walks in and he gets close to where Tamara is. And he sees her. So Amy, Danielle Harris, gets her and goes, hey, so she can distract him. What happens? Well, Seth in all his glory says, run for it. So she goes run for it. And really, this was the coolest moment in the film. She goes to run by him and he goes, and she goes, what? And her neck opens. And she looks right at Amy. And Amy's like, and then her head goes, and the blood squirts right up against the glass window. I thought that was cool. She witnessed her friend die because of the guy she fancied was stupid to tell her to run. Even they'd seen her, so it was death either way, I guess. So, there you have it on that bit. Right? Will then gets caught, and he gets tied up and sawed or whatever. Didn't care about him. And then for the last half an hour, you've got Seth and Amy running about. And Seth gets one in the arm, like big in the arm, and it's still running about, and you're like, his blood would be going everywhere, surely. But no. There's a point where she goes, we need to cauterize the wound, and she goes, and he goes, ah, and it's all right. She climbs out the window to get help, runs up the thing, and then I don't know what happens. I guess she could hear him, Jacob. This is, and she comes back, gets back through the window, and then you see him turn the corner and go. And then he walks down, smashes the windows and all sorts of things. And you're sitting there going, where's the phone? Where's your mobile phone? We've got a window open now. We've got reception, if that was the case. So Jacob then they basically run to the other side, and this shocked the living hell out of me, because I thought Amy's left and Seth's left. So that means Seth's going to die. Because we're talking about Danielle Harris here. And if she's in the last two, surely she's going to live, because she's, you know, like the queen of modern day horror, I guess. So she runs up to the door, and he sticks the knife right through the door, gets her in the stomach, and she dies. And I was like, what? So now we've got a male lead running about. How original. I haven't seen that in ages. A guy on his own, surviving more than a woman, especially a woman like Danielle Harris, who's probably more famous than he is. I was like, holy smoky megoli. So then what happens? He hides. Jacob beats the living hell out of him. He sticks this thing in his foot with this blue stuff in it, which I can't remember what it is, like embalmment stuff, I guess. He goes, and the blood in his eye comes out in this thing, and he falls. So he gets out the building, gets in his car. Seth, this is, drives off, has to open the gate. So he gets out, opens the gate, turns around, and the back door of the car's open. Now the question is, why would Jacob, this big, massive 7 foot, 400 pounder, yeah, that's right, wrestler, massive bloke, how would he fit in the back seat of that car without being seen? I couldn't get in the back seat of a car without being seen, especially if I was driving along. You'd just feel it, wouldn't you? So I was like, So he's like this, Seth, no, and he bumps into Jacob, and Jacob actually finally gets somebody's eyes, because he goes, finally, it gets somebody's eyes out. I was like, yes, this is what you were about in the first movie. Why weren't you like this in this movie? Because when you see the corpses, you're like, what about the eyes? So anyway, then you see Jacob Goodnight think about his mum. He goes, I know now. But he's like the prophet of God, and he has to stop sin. Which I think is actually quite cool, actually. You know, a big, brutal man who can't seem to die because he was shot because he's shot and he's dead and everything. He comes back to life. Modern day Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, does it work? I guess so, to a degree. But I wouldn't expect, I'd expect a third one the most. But I couldn't expect having 10 or 12 of these movies, because they'd suck after a while. But this one was a lot better than the first one, from what I remember. Because I haven't watched the first one since 2009. I've got to watch it to review it. But I saw this and I was like, oh, I've got to watch this and review this, because I've been looking forward to it. So I thought all the characters were really well done. You know, I thought they all acted really well. I didn't think the acting was that bad at all, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure there was some of it was, but I really, really enjoyed the movie, and I really thought it was pretty decent for a straight to video. And considering what Danielle Harris was in Hallows Eve, that piece of rubbish, you know, it was amazing seeing an actual decent thing. When she got killed off, I was like, what? So I did get some shocks out of it. And I did get some moments where I went, woohoo! You know, like when you watch a horror movie and you're like, yeah, she's dead. You know, so I got some of those good moments. So I enjoyed the movie a lot. Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, aka WWE Superstar, aka the half of the Brothers of Destruction, aka the brother of The Undertaker, on wrestling only anyway. I love him in the role because that's basically what Kane was. When Kane first came into wrestling, he was basically what Jacob Goodnight was, obviously without the killing, but with a mask on. So it was kind of good, but it was kind of nice to have. It's always good to have him because he looks like he could be a psychopathic killer, even though he's actually a very political, nice guy. Danielle Harris, I've met her in real life. She's a beautiful, incredible actress who should be further up on the chain of movie stars, but a lot of that's probably her own fault for picking the movies she picks. The others, I don't know. I don't think I've seen them in anything else. But I might have done, but just not remember because they're forgettable to a degree, if you know what I mean. They're great actors and great actresses in their own right, but you know, to me, they don't stand out completely. I did like the suspense, the little bit of suspense, because really it's just them being chased around, and you know he's going to be around the corner, you know he's going to kill somebody. I was surprised that so many people got killed off so quickly. Because I expected there to be like 3 people left, like you do in normal slasher movies. The third person gets killed, the bloke saves the woman, and the woman saves him, whatever, right? The one thing I did like about this movie is when Seth and Amy are alone, she goes, have you got your wallet? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, have I got $5 in it? And she goes, you were going to take me out, when were you going to ask me out on a date for $5? And then he grabs hold of her and they're like, ugh, and they're kissing. And you're like, woohoo, yeah, get in there, my son. But, you know, when she died, I was like, oh. I was like, she won't be in the sequel. But the one thing I did like about this movie, I mean, really liked, I like a lot of things about this movie, but one of the things I really liked most was that none of them survived. In the end, none of them survived. I thought that was fantastic. So now you can go, oh, is there going to be a third one? Where's Jacob going to be? Because nobody survived it. He's got no reason to stay in that area. So where's he going to go? So I kind of like that. And I like the backstory of his mum, showing how she kind of messed with him. Because there's a bit where he cries over her body. Because he killed her by pushing her away. The thing went straight for her eye. I don't know, I think that was in the first movie. There was a lot of flashbacks to that. So I like the character development. And I did actually care for a majority of the characters in the movie. I thought they had a fair amount of, you know, backstory and character progression. Even though, don't get me wrong, they didn't really, but they did, you know. I expected more from some characters, like Will. I expected him to be more like, come on then, and hit him and kind of run off and stuff. But, you know, typecasting. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. I thought it was one of those direct to DVD movies, but it's worth buying. I'd definitely buy it when it. I'd definitely buy it. I watched a digital download of it, but I definitely buy it when it comes out when it's at the right price. It's worth $15, but I'd probably never have seen it. I'd probably pay about 12, 10, 12. Because obviously after watching it and having it on the digital download, I don't need to watch it again so soon. But I'd recommend it for $15. It's not a bad film. It's not It's not the best film out there because there's a lot of things wrong with it in ways. But it's better than a majority of the rubbish that comes out. If you know what I'm saying. There was parts of it where I was thinking Halloween 2. You know, where they're running down the hallways and the corridors. There's a part when I was thinking 80s horror. There's parts where I was thinking but this film was great. You know, I'm not sure how good it would be on the second viewing because obviously, you know what's going to happen. But I would definitely watch it again. Maybe in 6 months, maybe 3, whatever. But yeah, I highly recommend See No Evil 2 because, as far as I remember, it's better than the first one, and it's surprisingly cool to watch. So, guys, definitely check out See No Evil 2. I give it a let's see. I enjoyed it more than. I'll give it a 5. I'll tell you what. I'll give it a 5 because I enjoyed it. It looks really good. It's a lot of fun. The lighting's great. The story's great. Danielle Harris is in it, and she dies. Yeah. Now, if she died at the beginning, that would have been nothing. But the fact that she dies when her and Seth are the last two, that gives it a little bit more anyway. So yeah, I'm hoping there's a third one. Like, I'm hoping there's a trilogy and it ends on the third one. Because I'd like to see the third one kind of end it. Because I can't see them going any further with these movies. But then I said that about Saw after the 5th movie. But, oh well. The 6th one even. But yeah, so I recommend it. It's a great movie. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll give it a 5 out of 5. If you watch it, let me know what you think of it. Have a lovely day. And as always, guys, take care.